Township of Lopatcong special meeting of April 15th, 2020 to order. I'd ask everybody to bow their head for a moment of silence, please. And if we could have our oath of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Flag, the United States of America, to the republic, which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please. Is Beth with us?
Yeah, let me make sure she's on. Hold on. I'm gonna unmute if you. Yeah. Okay. Are you Beth?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay.
We got you.
Councilman Salcaro.
Here.
Councilman Polito. Councilman Polito. I can't hear him. Councilman Wright.
Here.
Council President Pryor.
Here.
And Mayor Mangucci.
Here. All right, do we have any public comment on agenda items only? Hearing none, let me move into the business for tonight. Number one is the 2020 budget, public hearing and adoption. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
I would like to table this.
Okay.
There's no rush to vote on this. And the reason is we're not sure the damage of the economy where we are with this yet. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and so we should wait. And how long can we wait on this budget?
April 28th, the introduction deadline has been extended until.
Until April 28th?
Is that John Mooney, I hear?
It's Rich Wenner.
Oh, Rich. Yeah, plus we've already been approved by the state. Does that foul things up?
I'll defer to John on that. I don't think that it would, but I'll defer to John.
It doesn't foul things up. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, I can, John.
Okay. It doesn't foul things up. You will have to re-advertise the meeting date. That will have to be done 10 days prior to your adoption or your next adoption date. If you don't have any changes to the budget, you'll be able to go ahead and adopt the budget as is. If you begin to change the budget, you'll need a budget amendment, and depending upon what changes in the budget and how significantly it changes, you would have to have a hearing on the budget on the amendment as well. So there are some wrinkles in this if you decide to table it now. Again, if you make no changes, then it's no big deal. If you're only changing revenue, it's no big deal. If you start changing expenditures, then it becomes more of an issue, but we can handle that as well.
Well, I think Lou's objective is to reduce expenditures, isn't it, Lou?
Right.
And how does that affect us, John?
Well, if you're looking to reduce the tax rate, I would push you more towards looking at revenue and use of surplus. Although
no, I don't want to do that.
Okay, well, that can hinder you going forward. That was going to be
It took us 6 years to get to a decent surplus. I would vote against that.
Okay, well, I completely agree with you because you've made some great headway over the years. I never tell you to anticipate more than you received back last year. So I keep that in mind. If you're going to reduce expenditures, you're going to have to tell me where they're going to come from.
Yeah, well, John, that's just my opinion. I'd like to hear from everybody else.
First of all, is Kim Brown on with us?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
She's getting nervous here.
Well, don't get nervous. No need to get nervous. we presented a budget a couple weeks ago that we were all happy with. So I've had many conversations with Joe over the last week, some with Lou. I understand Lou's point. Obviously, the residents, a lot of them are hurting. Lou understands my point that I don't know what an extra $50 is going to do for anybody. It would be a nice gesture. It would be a nice gesture for now. I really don't want to set this township back from where it was, or back to where it was a few years back. So I don't know. It's a tough one for me. If you want to keep it flat, I'm never really in favor of that. I served for 15 years and bowed down to someone who always wanted to keep it flat, which is part of the reason that we were in trouble, and that's a lot of the reason where our surplus went. And as Joe said, we've got a decent surplus now, so I'm not necessarily in favor unless you have specific cuts. Joe and I have discussed the reduction of a sewer rate. I think maybe we can give our residents something back in that regard. It's tough at this time because let's face it, I think we all know that the damage to this economy is going to be tremendous. And we don't know. We do have May 1st coming up. I think that'll be our first indication as to where we're heading with this budget. So I don't know. I'm not necessarily in favor of pushing it back, but I'm willing to listen. If there are other places where we can cut money that we're comfortable with, I know Joe's been working on the sewer thing for a long, long time. So Joe, if you've got something there where you think we can offset the increase.
Well, I do, if you can give me a minute, but does somebody else want to speak before I get on again?
No, go ahead, Joe. I'd rather go ahead with the budget and see what we could do on the sewer end, because I feel like that'll mean more.
Okay. If bear with me, this is going to take a minute. The sewer budget is embedded in our budget, but it is a utility. It supports itself, and our rates go up and down. We do that by ordinance. I'm just looking at the data that was given to me, and I don't quite have everything I need, but I'm going to make this simple. Last year, we collected over 1.87 in sewer revenue. And this year's budget is actually lower than that. It's 1.79. I don't know why. But I was thinking of proposing a cut in the sewer rate. Right now, it's $12.25 per 1,000 gallons. I'd like to drop that by $1 to $11.25. If somebody uses, I don't know, say 50,000 gallons a year, which is not a ridiculous figure, dropping it by $1, you'd have $50 right there. A high user would get more. So if we did that change, we'd have to make up about $140,000 in equivalent cuts on the expense side. We just signed this contract with Peaburg. We're going to get back 100 right in rebates, and they've dropped their rate from 0.059 to 0.054. That would put us over the top. So I think we could, without going line by line, I think that's the overview, and we could do $1 right off the top. As I look through the line items, I think there's a lot in there that could be cut back. We have our expenses are high for legal. Our lawsuit is over. That's why it was high last year. There's some other things that I just questioned. They just seem to be out of line. So I would feel pretty comfortable with that change. And I do have a question for Kim. We do have reserves in our sewer account, right?
Yes, that's what I was going to say next, Joe, when you were done. We have a healthy fund balance. It's almost $1 million. So between cuts and maybe using some of that fund balance for the revenue loss, we could definitely make that work.
I think we could do it just through cuts. I mean, look what we're going to get out of the Peaburg cuts alone,
Right, right.
right? And then this year, this is the first year we're not transferring money to the general fund.
Correct.
So I
Nothing
think,
is supporting the
I mean,
current budget.
there's already some cushion in here. Last year, we received 1.87. We've budgeted less than 1.8 for this year.
Right.
Yeah, so wait, am I missing anything?
No.
The only thing I would say, under Lou's proposal, everybody's gonna get a break. Under this proposal, most of us will get a break. Not everybody uses our sewer system.
Yeah, but most of us gave a break to everybody all these years we were transferring money over. And this 1 year, they don't do it and they actually get a break that somebody else doesn't get.
You know, what I would like to add is that I cannot support this budget in good faith, knowing that, and I understand what the mayor is saying, you know, $50 is not really, you know, is not a lot to a lot of people. But for people who are working, it's chump change. I'm thinking about the people who lost their jobs, who are going to potentially continue to lose jobs. And they're proposing that unemployment is going to be 20–25%. We have to be very careful that we don't dig ourselves a hole, that people will lose their homes, foreclosures, and then we'll lose even more money in tax revenue. Then we're going to be sitting on empty lots. I can't in good faith, in a crisis like this, unprecedented, that's we never experienced before in our lifetime, to go there and raise taxes on people. The state is bleeding big time in revenue losses. We don't know what's going to happen if the shore is going to open up this summer. Can you imagine if that stays closed? The hit they will take. It's unprecedented right now, and we have to be good stewards of these monies, and to our taxpayers to say, you know what, we have to hold off because we're living uncertain times. And if this coronavirus, which they say will come back in the fall, who knows what's going to happen then? Because now you're going to have intermittent shutdowns, depending. I was watching CDC tonight. If they want to reopen the economy again, it's going to be slow. It's going to be isolated locations. It's going to be, and then if there's a virus pops up, they're going to implement the shutdowns again. So this is going to be going back and forth for the rest of the year. And people are going to be out of a job. What do we do? Well, sorry, folks. You know, you got to pay up because we raise your taxes. I'm hoping the school stays flat. I'm hoping the county stays flat.
I'm here in the county.
The federal government can't continue. The federal government cannot continue digging going into deeper debt to send us more money. You can't do that. You cannot continue to do that. So we have to do the best we can on our end. I think that we don't open the pool up. We keep it closed. We're saving $70,000 right there. The pool is going to be closed. Nobody's going to join. Let's not waste one penny of opening the pool up. The social distance is going to last through the summer, and it's going to continue that way for who knows how long. So we're not going to have kids in pools because you're not going to be able to keep kids apart. And parents are not going to join. They're going to go to a place, and the fear is going to continue way beyond this.
So the next question I would have then, Kim, in order to keep it flat, how much we got to cut out of the budget?
Probably 70,000.
Well, we're at
A little more than
$9
About 195.
Yeah.
195.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we not buy some cars this year? Some police cars? Can we just fix them? Any kind of big ticket items that we were going to purchase? Can we hold off to next year?
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw a new car in a lot already.
Yes. Yes.
One, right? We agreed on one.
Yes. Yes. One for the police.
One. We usually buy two. We bought one this year.
That's correct. Is that car that I'm seeing, the new one, the new SUV, is that on this year's budget, or is it on Is that last year?
I believe it was this year.
Yes, I believe it is too.
Okay, so there goes that idea.
Is any other big ticket items that's we're looking to purchase this year?
We
Well,
weren't looking, go ahead, Kim.
the capital is not going to affect you as much as cutting operating budgets. That's where you got to focus, on the operating side of it.
Well, we can save
The department budgets.
we can save
Right,
70.
if I could just jump in, your
ahead.
capital budget is not set in stone. You can either do it or not do it, or do more if you had to. But that's all part of your capital budget, and the money's in capital improvement fund and put aside for down payments there. I wouldn't even look to that as at this point. What I would be more focused on is exactly what Kim's saying. If there's any controllable costs that you think you can cut, look there. The only problem this year that you have that's kind of unique is that you are paying off the last year of your solar project bond anticipation note, and you have to have it paid off this year. And if you look at that debt piece alone, you're going up about $300,000 in payment of bond anticipation notes. So it's not like your budget has increased dramatically because you're spending on different things that you have control over. This is one of those times where you don't have a whole lot of control, and the entire increase is going towards paying this down.
And I just got to add, John, we already did that rollover in March. So
Right.
that figure was already anticipated in that rollover.
Right, you have to address that. There was no issue.
Yeah, so there's
There was no other way.
Right.
I'll address the council here. Lou's been on longer than I have, but we ran together, and this is my 5th year. And when I came on, we had virtually no surplus, and we had a lot of old debt. And we finally got to the point where that's under control. Now, philosophically, I agree with everything Lou was saying, but it's going to be a bad year for a lot of folks. We don't know where our total assessed evaluation is going to go. I'm anticipating a lot of tax appeals. You got businesses completely shut down. There's no customers out at the golf course. You can go on and on. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of tax appeals. And, you know, it's not like we collect the money, we put our feet up and collect it automatically. So, you know, that 2 cents, it has a relatively small impact on folks, but when you give it to everybody, it has a fairly large impact on us. You heard it. Each penny is $95,000 or so. So that's something to consider. I'd love to do what Lou is suggesting, but I think it's kind of late in the game right now. And I think the best we can offer is something on the sewer side. And once we see how that all goes, we may even be able to do that again next year.
Hey, just to clarify something real quick, that car you see in the parking lot is from last year's budget, I believe, for the police department.
That's what I was at. That wasn't the first one that took.
I think he's put the order in for this year.
Okay.
Let me check.
If that's true, that's another expenditure we can save on.
That's probably about 50,000. Maybe not quite that much.
About 46, yeah.
All right, so if we add the pool, add the vehicle, over 100 grand. I'll take whatever we can cut. At least we're doing the best we can.
I do know the county's flat. I haven't heard back from the school to see what their budget looks like.
So, okay, the county's flat then, which is good news.
Well, the county actually cut their rate last year, and they're flat this year. So
Okay,
probably if you look at, I mean, I think my taxes last year my total bill was like $3 a month. It was $36 for myself. That was total. That was everything.
Let's see, we'll come back with the vehicle. If we had the vehicle in with, not opening the pool, we have something.
Well, the other thing, Lou, we don't have to hire that part-time person to work with Danielle. It's a crazy time to try and hire someone anyway. We could get through the rest of the year without that. That's got to save $30,000.
Joe, whatever we can save,
Yeah.
I like it to put it towards that 2 cents and reduce that 2 cents.
Did we had the money budgeted for the help in the tax collector's office?
I'm gonna check on that right now.
Okay.
I have to guess she was on the payroll, right?
Yeah, I
mean,
would think so. But let's just be sure. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, let's see. For the tax, sorry, I had to step away. The tax collector, the assistant in the office was almost about 13,000. Let me see what was charged already this year.
Only 13,000?
For
I
the
thought it
tax,
was half-time. That's all we paid?
yeah, but there's a sewer hit too, so.
Yeah, probably 50%, right?
I'll tell you that. I don't want to say something that's not true. 2,000 is what we've charged so far on that. So you're talking 10, 11,000 there. The sewer, her
If I could make a suggestion while we have a little bit of downtime here. If you wanted to pass this budget tonight or adopt this budget tonight, and you want to make cuts to the budget, what you're proposing now would kick in an amendment to the budget that has to have its own separate hearing, has to be re-advertised. We have to go through the entire process. My suggestion or a thought that I had while I'm listening to this, and I know Councilman Pryor, you might be on the fence about this one, but I might win you over. If you got to the point where you had the 2.1 cents of cuts, I understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily know if I would do it, but I'm not elected to make that decision. You are. If you get to the point where you have like the pool, where you don't think the pool will open, rather than going into this budget and cutting it out of this budget, my suggestion would be to use more surplus to get it down to the increase that you want to have it at. And then as the year goes on, cancel those line items, do a formal resolution within your public meeting. If you're not going to open the pool, cancel it. And it would go right back to surplus right away. It wouldn't carry forward 2 years and then be canceled out at the end of 2021 when the appropriation reserves balances that aren't spent go back to surplus. It would be canceled immediately and go back to surplus. If there's a position that you're talking about with a person in the tax office who is not going to be hired, but they're in the budget, well, then you can cancel that portion of the budget and send that money right back to surplus, as you do the resolution. So
Well, we may have an answer on the pool in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
That's just an option that you have out there, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go through and you cut expenses now, it's going to trigger an amendment to the budget. And we like to avoid that if possible, especially in a state exam year, because they'll look at it and then they'll have to look at it again. So my suggestion would be to look on the revenue side. I know we don't want to, but it is an option out there where you can use more surplus and then replenish that surplus by making cuts in the budget throughout the year through cancellation.
Kim, we're already using some of the surplus, are we not, to balance the budget?
Yes, we are.
How much?
1,175,000.
Pretty good figure.
Yep. I just want to clarify with the tax office, the clerk was budgeted at 8,000. On the tax side, she spent 2, and on the sewer side, she was 8.
Yeah, 50/50 then, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. Well, we could not fill that position. If we make a decision on the pool, I don't know, maybe we can get pretty close maybe, but, I don't know. John's suggestion is worth discussing.
I like it.
But, I mean, we'd have to do it with the commitment to dig into the budget right away and make these adjustments. I don't want it to hang out there and then money disappears.
Absolutely. And I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. So you're talking about 8 for the sewer and 8 for the tax collection. And that's 16. We've already used 2. So we'll have 14 left, the way I see it. Is that correct?
We do have, she charged out 2 on the sewer too, so you're talking 12.
Okay. I mean, there's $12,000. That obviously is not a lot of money. But it's something we can point to. And, even if we don't keep it flat, if we could reduce it some to where it is, listen, John's been doing this a long time. I've been with John a long time. If that's his suggestion, I'm comfortable with it. And I hear Lou. Trust me, Lou, when I tell you, I hear you. And again, I've mentioned it a million times. My father he had his own business, and I can hear him in the back of my head now. He'd probably go through there and slice everything, including the police car. I just think that we've gotten to a point. And again, this is all unknown. When we adopted this budget a month ago, everybody was fine with it. But obviously, a lot has happened since then, and I hear and feel for your concerns. And obviously, it's going to benefit me as well. We're all taxpayers. I'm not one to spend a lot of money. And the thing that bothers me, like the police car, Jason and I had a discussion a couple of years ago. I said, Jason, we'll give you 2 cars for as long as you feel you need it. And when you don't, I expect you to cut back on it. And this was the year he went at 1 car, not 2. So, I think we've gotten the road crew up to a good thing. We've gotten the police to a good thing. It's just very tough. It's just very tough. We're getting some roads done. Obviously, our sewers are in good shape at this point. Obviously, we've had a couple sinkholes. We never know where that's going to come from. So, I don't know. My vote is going to be to adopt this budget tonight with the concessions that John has mentioned. So, and going about it that way.
Let me just add my last 2 cents here. Now that I've heard the county's flat, I think Lou has won me over. I think we should be flat. And, if the school board can't stay flat, well, that's their problem. I think the rest of us tried. And I will vote for this tonight with the commitment that we cut $190,000 to make this thing work. If we're just going to coast and take this money out of surplus,
No, I don't want to take it out of surplus. Something's going to have to give somewhere. So if we're going to do this.
Yeah, so with that commitment, I mean, we're going to have to sit down. I mean, Mayor, you and I worked on this. We worked very hard, but there's some room yet. And if Lou wants to participate, that's fine, or anybody else. But I would vote for this with the understanding that, well, then what happens? We still, the tax rate goes out 2 cents higher though, John, right? When do we adopt this budget tonight? It has 190,000 more revenue than we're intending to spend. That tax rate is going to provide for that extra money, is it not?
I'm sorry, I'm getting there. I just had a couple of computer things while I was trying to put it all together. If you take 190,000 and put it into your surplus that you're anticipating, it basically takes you down to 0. So the money, the expenditures that you have in the budget right now are offset between all of your revenues, including taxes.
No, we're not reducing, pardon me. Let me just, so I can understand this as we go along. We're taking surplus, but when are we making the cuts?
You would make the cuts after your budget's
What-
adopted. Oh, next meeting, if you wanted to. You know, if you know that by July or June, you know that the pool's not going to open. Rather
Yeah,
than
but why do
leave
we
that
need
money
surplus
there-
right now? Wait, we're gonna include surplus in this, but
And then try and put
for
it
what
back.
purpose? For what, the expenditures are gonna be what they are. So what do? We just start canceling expenditures right away? And then we transfer the surplus back?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Because
But what do they use to compute the tax rate? That first set of tax bills that goes out, what's it gonna say? Flat or increase?
It'll say flat. Because rather than asking for more money from the taxpayers, you're using your own money that you've collected over the years, right? That's your budget.
All
Then
right.
once your budget's established, you go in and make the cuts or cancellations to the budget, and that'll send that money directly back to surplus.
All right.
The only reason
I can
the only
do
reason
that.
I would
I can
suggest
support that.
is- okay.
But my target would be a flat tax rate and a commitment that we make enough cuts to send that surplus back.
I like that idea. I like John Mooney's opinion on that. And yes, we have to commit that by adopting this tonight, that over the next May, June, whatever cuts we do goes right back into the pool.
Into the pool or the
No,
surplus?
not the regular pool,
Surplus.
the surplus pool,
All right.
not
And
the
that
wet
also
pool.
gives you some time, it'll give you some time to identify the areas that you're going to cut and cancel. Okay?
Right.
If there's, I don't know if there's a temporary position built in for DPW. You know, if you're going to say, well, we're not going to hire one extra part-timer this summer, you know, to make up for it. And I don't mean to put DPW on the spot. I'm just trying to think of places where you can find going
I
forward.
think we can find it. I think everybody here has some ideas, and we'll find the cuts.
Let me just bring this up, and I know Joe's not gonna like this. Last year we got our usage from our sewer down to 100,000. Is that correct? Is that how much money we took out of the sewer budget last year to balance?
50.
No, it was 100.
It was 100. 50 was from fund balance and 50 was from anticipated revenues. One was prior years.
All
So
right.
it was a total of 100. It was 100.
So if we did 50 this year.
No, I'm not gonna vote for that.
It's an idea. That would still be 50 less than what we did last year.
It's taken us 6 years to wean off that. We finally did it, and I got my heels dug in there. You go vote. I'm voting no on that.
All right.
I apologize for my stubbornness there and the way I said it, but I can't support that.
You're still weaning yourself off and helping out everybody's concerns here.
Now you're having sewer users subsidize other folks who don't need the subsidy.
I get that. And I was all for weaning ourselves off, but again, extraordinary times. So
I know it took us 6 years to do it.
it took us 6 years to get $1.5 million in our surplus too.
I know.
We're going to use that now in anticipation that we're going to put it back. It's always harder to put it back once you use it. So you can look at it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a commitment that we immediately dig into the budget and we find the cuts.
Okay. Anybody else? Bill, Jim?
I'm good with what John was saying.
All
I
right.
have no problem with that.
Okay. So we need a motion to adopt the budget.
No,
No, you need your public hearing first, Mayor.
Obviously, all right.
hold on 1 second, because I'll just explain how this is going to play out then.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to type this up as we go here, so you got to give me a minute or two. If you open it up to the public hearing, and have discussion on it, then close it, you're going to have to do an amendment to the budget. but it's a resolution that'll be done tonight. And then after that resolution is passed, you will go ahead and take the vote on the budget. And what the amendment is going to say is that we're using more in surplus, and we're collecting less in taxes. So I'm putting that together while you guys are going to do the next section, and then I'll send it over to Beth as soon as I'm done.
Do we need a motion to
So-
open up the hearing at this point?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Folks, questions, comments? Is anybody from the
All in
public?
favor? All in favor, right?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anyone from the public have a question?
Hey, Jim, it's Lori.
Lori, I
Um,
can't hear Jim Polito. He's not.
No, I know.
Okay.
He's unmuted. He might have to call back in. I'll text him. But
Maybe Jim-
I don't know what you're gonna decide on the pool, but you'll probably save money in recreation too. Because I doubt we're gonna be able to do half of what we want to do.
Yeah, we were talking about music and movies and everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that budget isn't really that big, right?
No,
No, it's not.
no,
but
it's
some-
not. But you might get something.
$7,500 or something like that, $8,000.
Well, Lori, we do have some money in there for the speakers and everything, so if we're not going to do that, maybe we can postpone all that.
Yeah, we definitely could. You can postpone all of that.
How much was all that, Kim?
Help me out here, Lori. I think it was
5,500?
Yeah, like 5,500,
Okay.
close to 6.
10.
Yeah.
It was 10?
If we finished the speakers and then we did the pavilion, it could be close to 10. Plus, you know, if you only get in like one month of music, that'll be like more than half. That's like 8,000 for the year.
I'm sure the
Maybe in the
music,
pool, we didn't spend as much because half of them were free this year. And then community day too. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
who knows what we're going to be able to do. 6,000?
6,500.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't need that. We definitely don't need that this year.
okay.
Now you're up to 20.
Is there anyone else from the public? Laura, you have any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay. And there's no one else coming in?
Mayor, it's Chief Garcia.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I arrived a little late, so I didn't know if there was a question regarding the police budget or anything I could clarify to help out the situation.
Well, we're looking to find some money, obviously, due to the fact that, you know, with this coronavirus, a lot of our residents have either lost their jobs or are hurting. So we had a budget a month ago that we were very happy with. And now, you know, after some discussion tonight, in order to try and help our residents out a little bit, and it's only going to be a little bit, we're looking at stuff. I know you have a car in for this year. I know you and I had discussions early on in my term as mayor that we would do 2 cars for as long as we, you know, as we needed to. And after that, it was up to you to, you know, tell me when you didn't need 2. And you told me that this year. So you kept your end of the bargain. I'm not looking to cut that myself at this point. Is there anything in your budget that you feel you could do without or cut back, or, you know, that's something. I don't really even need those answers now, Jason.
I could certainly take a look to see if there's anything that I can help out with to possibly help out, but I know a vehicle is really not one of them this year. We've been scraping by with what we have, and actually we just had a vehicle arrive this week as
I saw it.
and that vehicle was ordered last June. So it's we've been working with the best we have, and we've been getting by with what we have, but it's been very, very tough. We had to actually rebuild one of the engines in one of the cars just to get it by until we got this one now.
Yeah, I don't want to fall into that again. But again, I hear Councilman Belcaro's concerns. He's really the catalyst behind this tonight. I mean, we all agree we need to try and help out. But again, we were just, unfortunately for us, we were just starting to get rolling. Our surplus was coming back up. Our roads were getting done. Our police cars were coming back online. Our DPW has gotten some nice equipment over the last couple of years. But, we're going to try and help out the best we can. I think we really need to look at the overtime in a couple departments. And see what's going on there. So we'll be looking at everything. But anything that you feel you can help out on would be greatly appreciated. Anybody else got anything for the chief? Hearing none. Any other public questions? And I guess we
I
need
don't see anybody.
Then we need a motion to close the public hearing.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we need a resolution for this budget before we adopt it. Is that what I was told?
I need 1 minute and then I'll get it over to Beth. I'm almost done with it. I want to make
Okay.
sure it's right before.
Is this where we all ran out for popcorn?
All right.
Hopefully we get through this year and this coronavirus is gone once and for all and our economy comes back stronger than ever. Obviously, we're all hoping for that, and next year could be an amazing year. But that's all based on hope.
Yeah. And we truly don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. Say one of the things that I was concerned about was the even with the Ingersoll project, supposedly they have a tenant for our part that was supposed to start the third quarter of this year. So let's hope that all holds out for us.
Okay, everybody, I got it over to Beth. So Beth, you should be getting it any moment.
I have it.
Thank you.
Okay, so what are we doing?
Do I need to read that, John?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so it's a resolution to amend the introduced budget. It states, whereas the local budget for this year, 2020, was approved on the 18th day of March. It's the 15th day. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the introduction, 2020. And whereas the public hearing on said budget was held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Lopatcong of the County of Warren that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2020 made. Revenue, surplus anticipated went from $1,175,000 to $1,365,000. Amount to be raised by municipal taxes for support of municipal budget went from $5,540,284.03 to $5,350,294.03. That's your resolution. A motion to adopt.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Okay. Is Jim Polito online now, Lori, so I can call the roll?
Are you on there, Jim?
Yeah, I can't hear him.
I know. I think it's him because he's not muted.
All right,
You can just nod.
I've actually been reading his lips, so I'm going to call the roll. Councilman Belcaro,
Yes.
Councilman Polito? Okay, he nodded. Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes. All right. Now, okay,
Now,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, now you hold the vote on the budget.
Yep. So we need a motion to basically adopt.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll roll call it. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito? Okay, he nodded yes. Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes. All right, number 2 is ordinance number 20-04, first reading of bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $295,000 for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Lopatcong in the County of Warren, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $280,250 in bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation. Gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll roll call that. Councilman Belcaro?
I have a question. How does this affect the budget?
We just have to appropriate enough in the capital improvement fund to fund the down payment, which is 5%.
Okay. And that'll include,
So on this particular ordinance, the capital improvement amount is $14,750.
okay, yes.
Councilman Polito? Yes. Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes. Number 3 is ordinance number 20-05. It's the first reading of bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,160,000 for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Lopatcong in the County of Warren, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $663,100 bonds or notes of the township for financing part of the appropriation. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes. Number 4 is a resolution to correct tax account for block 120, lot 5. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes.
Excuse me one second, but if someone can tell Jim that he may have to turn on his audio on the bottom of his screen. I don't know if he's on his phone or computer. If you could get that message to him.
Yeah, I told him it's not working. He's trying to call in.
Okay.
And I
Thank you.
see where John Mooney just logged off. Is that accurate?
Yes, he did. Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm still here, but I'm just letting you know I'm getting off unless you need me for anything else.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you, everybody. Be safe.
Thanks, John.
You too.
All right. If we go to number 6, we could dismiss Kim then too, actually, correct? More than likely?
I think so.
Okay. I think let's skip over 5 and go to 6 because I think the other one may take a while. The SOAR rates and the connection fees.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got for us there?
Well, I'll speak to the connection fees right now. I know Paul Sturbins is working on trying to come up with the service units, and I know he's been working with Councilman Pryor on that. Also, in talking to John Mooney, they used to do a report that would tell us what the cost was. It's called a capital base. They haven't done that since year 2015, but it's a model that they have that they can plug in the numbers so we can get our true cost. And in speaking, well, I did email Jim and Joe about this, and it's $1,000 per year. We'd have to catch up, but I think it's a worthy investment so that we can accurately reflect what our hookup fees will be, and we will be able to defend it if anybody questions it.
Joe, I'll let you speak to it first.
Can I add to that? The report, the Nizhevaki report that Kim's talking about, that of course can be charged to the sewer budget, so it doesn't affect the tax rate. The second thing that I think it pays a dividend, by just about everyone's estimation, our connection fees are going to rise. So the quicker we implement this thing, the quicker we achieve a higher connection fee. We have Larkin with over 200 units under construction. If we wait too long, we're going to miss an opportunity there. We got, I see where the site on Strikers Road for the next warehouse is being cleared. I see equipment out there. And then, of course, we have Bridge that's targeted to open by the end of the year. So the $1,000 is nothing. If that speeds up the process, it comes out of the sewer budget, and we actually get revenue. I saw in our connection fee in our budget here, we estimated 20 grand for connection fees. Well, with 200 units pending on one site alone, I mean, we can surpass that quite easily if we get this thing moving.
Yeah, and it wasn't, just so we have this straight, it wasn't $1,000 total. It was $1,000 per year. And we're behind, what, 4 years, Kim?
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
$4,000, but again, it's still money well spent.
It still comes out of the sewer budget,
Yes,
and it'll pay dividends.
yes, and I just need somebody to say, go ahead, and I'll email John tonight and tell him, hey, it's a go, get started on it.
Well, I mean, as the fellow who knows the sewer utility, I would recommend it highly to the other members of council.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
I did talk to Paul. Paul needs some information from Danielle. He needs the water records is what he needs. He's working on that. And it's really going to involve 4 people: Danielle, Paul, Derek Worth, and Kim. But they're all working on it, and I think that'll come together fairly soon.
Joe, I did talk to Paul about that. I emailed Danielle to see if she can give him the fourth quarter 2019 report.
Yeah. What he's probably going to do is take a year's worth of water records, and then he has to break that down into residential and non-residential. And he'll come up with what they call an equivalent dwelling unit, and then he'll assign it the number of equivalent dwelling units to each non-residential user. And then that all gets divided into the work that John Mooney will do. And you come up with your connection fee. And then the lawyer makes sure it all works. There's a new law, the connection fee is actually cut in half for COA units. That's interesting. They get a break there. The other part of this item is the rate. I think I've addressed that. Personally, I'd like to have a first reading tonight, and then it gives us 2 weeks to verify the numbers. And I'd like to put that in, I'd like to enact that as soon as possible. I don't know if a first reading tonight is feasible. If not, then certainly the next meeting, the May meeting.
Gentlemen, what's your pleasure? I don't have a problem with Joe's suggestion.
I don't
Would
either.
that be in the form of an ordinance?
Yes.
Well, I would have to have the ordinance advertised, and it has to be in the paper for 10 days.
So we would only have 5 days. So
Heck was that?
it doesn't look like the next meeting is feasible, does it?
No.
Well, let's plan on, can we plan on putting this on the agenda for the May meeting?
Certainly.
All right.
I would like to take this opportunity to really apologize to the mayor for objecting to his proposal so strongly, but he knew it would set me off when he asked it. The sewer utility is near and dear to my heart. I've worked in my professional life in rates for a long time. We did just win settle a lawsuit favorably that was set up to achieve fair rates. And I'm afraid, I really got my heels dug in there, but I do apologize in the way I responded to the mayor.
Yes, we all have our hot buttons, and we go
Yeah,
from here.
you found mine.
And I knew that before I said it.
Yeah.
So shame on me.
But Joe, you're expressing your deep emotions right there.
Yeah, which is good.
No, I'm expressing basic rate-making principles. So,
Well, and I gotta give Joe credit. He's worked on a source for a long time. That's his wheelhouse. Was just trying to find a way to kind of pacify everybody, which is not always easy to do. But we've worked a long time with the sewer situation. Joe and I went down to, I don't know what Marriott we were in last year with the Phillipsburg people. So I want to put the sewer thing behind us, really. I think we got that utility in good shape. We've got the lawsuit settled, as Joe said. So no harm, no foul, and we go from here.
And,
So,
and I just,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but there's times that we have to make tough decisions. Other times are easy decisions, and this is one of those nights we're making tough decisions.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
That's right.
I have two comments. Everybody's blessed. John and Mooney's firm going in and doing the hookup fees, correct? I can move forward
I'll
with
tell you
that.
what, I'll make a motion. Can I do that? And
Yes, that's good.
I'll make that motion to authorize Kim to contact John Mooney's firm and have him do what did he call it, Kim?
It's calculating the capital base.
The capital base, yes. I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Thank
it.
you.
And
Okay.
again, the money will come out of the sewer account. It won't touch
Correct.
won't affect the taxes.
Correct.
I'll roll call that. Councilman Belcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes,
Can I just make one
Yeah.
other comment too while I'm on?
sure.
I'm looking at the school budget for Lopatcong. It's proposed to have an increase of $44 for a house assessed at $231,000.
Mm.
So it's 44 for the year.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Okay.
houses. There's a lot of houses assessed to more than 231. I understand that. I understand that's the average. So, okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you that because I didn't have that information.
Do we know what that's based on? Is it the tuition to the high school? Because we have more kids going?
I can't really tell. He sent me the whole budget thing, but I'm just looking at the slide of the overview.
Okay.
But I could probably print this out for you,
That's
and
fine.
that would notice the details.
I would personally like to see that.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Kim, I
Yes.
guess an apology is in order from us. We had discussed it, I discussed it with Joe, and I know Lou had discussed it some with Joe also. We probably should have informed you that we weren't going to put this budget through verbatim tonight. So that starts at the top, so I'll take the hit for it.
Okay.
You were kind of blindsided with the discussion I had with you yesterday. So that's on me. But anyway, we go from here.
Okay, and we'll have to get together. I have some of the notes for the cuts,
Right.
but we will need to revisit certain departments.
Okay. All right. That's good. Does anybody else have any questions for Kim before we cut her off?
I don't. Thank you, Kim.
All right, Kim, thank you very much. The rest of your
Okay,
night.
have a good night.
Thanks,
Good
Kim.
night. Thank you, Kim.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, we're back to number 5, the Township Parks, Fields, Pavilion, Pool, Community Day, and both movies and music at the park. And I think Lori touched on some of that a little bit earlier from her end with the movies and Community Day. So
Mhm.
what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Does somebody else want to speak first? I'll wait.
Well, you know what? I'll just say this. We're kind of flying blind with this. Yeah, as much as I hate to see it, I think the pool's done for the year. If for no other reason than I don't know how comfortable people would be anyway after this gets. But it's the first time. This would be the 54th swimming season for that pool. It's 53rd year, but it's 54th swimming season, and it's never been closed. So it is what it is. Times change, things move on. So looks like we're gonna shut it down.
Mayor, I agree. I'd rather not have to worry about it. I don't know if you've seen this. I subscribe to a thing, gives me the coronavirus stuff every day.
Yeah.
There's the governor's word. Don't expect a normal gathering for the foreseeable future. I just as much let the lifeguards know now. I'd rather not waste a lot of time over there. Give us a chance to address some of these other things we have to tonight. And I think that it's closed for this season.
Gentlemen, anybody else?
Will that give us a chance to do some repairs to the pool that are needed, or is everything going to be shut down?
I think the only repair that we needed done was underway already.
I know we ordered something, right? A part
Pump.
or something, big
Pump.
part, a pump.
Yeah.
Well, a pump was in that ordinance you passed tonight.
Yeah. So, the only other thing that that I'm aware of at this point is that there was a leak in the seam. So I don't know that Brian has a price on that yet. I know he's called a couple people on that. So we'll see. Other than that, I don't know of anything going on with that pool. I think I think the ground should be maintained. That's going to fall on the DPW. I'm not putting any extra help on there to do that. So that'll fall in their lap. I think we used to have Donnie Jessamine come in. As much as I like Donnie, I don't see a reason for his hours this year. So other than that, is there anybody else in there, Beth, other than Donnie?
Well, the only other thing to discuss is the recreation camp that we usually run, and that's usually the last week of June and falls into the first week of August. Now, that's a daycare kind of thing from 9 to 1 for, parents for placement of their kids. Now, I would like to hold out on that, even if, just to see if there is any opportunity to provide that to the parents. I certainly, and everybody would understand if it isn't going to work out, but I kind of would rather wait and see how things go. Parents will be going back to work at some point, and their kids are going to need a place.
Well, again.
And it's not funded out of township money. It's a trust. They pay for it. So that's why I'm just asking. Let's just
Right.
wait on that if you don't mind.
No, we actually had a discussion with the school district today, and it looks like we're going to try and hold our sports camps. So, again, it's going to depend. It's a little bit early to make that determination. So I would agree with you to let's leave that go for now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if you see this. I track the new cases every day. It's got a long way to run. The governor says we're not going to have gatherings, but like Beth says, it doesn't come out of taxes. There's a trust. We can hold back and see what unfolds there.
They're talking about this year's baseball and possibly even football season, professional, that they'll have the games, but without the fans in the stadium.
So there's a lot of revenue lost there, that's for sure.
Yeah. So if they're doing something like that, trying to avoid big gatherings.
Like we
talking
said
about,
about our budget earlier, I mean, it's an extraordinary time. None of us has ever been through this, so we got to kind of let it play out as it comes.
right.
So,
I know, is Lori still with us? Or did she go?
Yes, now I'm here.
You here, Lori?
Yeah.
I got to think that Community Day is a no-go, and the
Right.
reason to bring that up now, I don't know if people understand how much work Lori puts into this. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of planning. It actually starts pretty soon. We're booking
hmm
acts and entertainment and rides, and I don't know. 2 years ago we had a couple of celebrities. It's just a lot of
Yeah.
work, and
hmm
I think the plan on it would just be naive. The concerts, Lori, my feeling is if you try and line up some people later in the year, and that's something
Right.
you
Yeah.
could, well, if they loosen up a little bit, we could do
hmm
some social distancing there quite
Oh, I
easily.
agree. Yeah,
And,
very easily.
I don't feel as uneasy about that one as I do the pool or Community Day.
I'm sure
I mean,
you have
I'm
some,
okay with canceling Community Day. Maybe you guys just want to do fireworks, but save that for another
I
day.
knew that was coming.
I know, right? Sorry.
The other thing, Lori, you do get a grant for the concerts,
For
right?
music. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like
so,
to try to
yeah.
get those off.
Is there a cost sharing thing or something, or?
Yeah, we just have to, I mean, we've been getting about like 1,600, 2,200. So if we got about that same, that does help us. And, you know,
No,
we
I'm saying
budget
if
for
we did half the
8,000, but we
concerts,
don't.
if we did half the concerts,
Yeah, we could.
just use the grant
Mhm.
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
you know, there's not even a risk with expenditures there.
No.
So,
Movies at the pool too, like I know it there, movies at the pool, like technically even with the pool empty, you could have it there, or we could move it to the park. The blow up screen we were going to get is like $150. And that too, like we only paid for 3 movies, and maybe we don't get any, maybe we don't do any. We can get credits for that. We might have already paid them. But that's another thing that if you really want to social distance, you could do it.
yeah, of course, you'd have kids to police, which makes it, maybe you'd have to have a
Right.
parent come or something. But again,
Yeah, which they do.
You could push that to late in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. So
Or
we can
even
hold
maybe
off on
transfer
maybe.
one into an adult night, you know, get one of those old 40 movies that I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I'll talk to
And-
them. But yeah, if you want to cancel Community Day, we could do that.
Bill has an
Yeah.
Adam Sandler movie he wouldn't mind seeing.
I think, let's hold off on the music and whatnot. I think we can just
Okay.
kind of Community Day and the
Mhm.
pool and everything else is closed. Obviously with the pavilion, I doubt very seriously we're gonna have any rental money there because, you know, again, social distancing, I don't know how you're gonna pull that off. So, I think the park basically, I don't want to shut it down if we can allow people to at least go back in and use the swings and whatnot, but right now we're not doing that. So I think it's kind of a day by day
Right.
situation based on what the governor's feeding us, and what we see. I mean, nobody, you know, if anybody tells you they have this thing nailed down, they know what's coming, they're lying.
Yeah.
So, so let's just.
And one thing to consider, like with, like I know I was joking about the fireworks, but not really. But again, the high school wasn't able to pull theirs off last year, right? I don't know if Phillipsburg's going to be able to do Old Town Festival. Maybe it's something that all of us can get together on and do for the community.
The high school did not pull theirs off last year due to technical
No.
difficulties. That did
Yeah.
not. Go. But anyway, we'll leave it go at that. So
Yeah,
I think everybody's just kind of in agreement. We know where we're at. The park is closed with the exception of the walking path for now. Really, I don't believe there's going to be any sports going on up there anytime soon. So
Mm-mm.
I think it's just kind of status quo at this point, and I think everybody knows it. I don't think anybody's really expecting an announcement from us one way or the other. Not now. Maybe maybe, you know, the May meeting, we'll just tell people, hey, here's where it's at. So
Yeah.
in the
We're
meantime,
pretty certain spring sports are going to be canceled. And football is even kind of they haven't even, the league itself hasn't been able to figure out what's going on. So
yeah. All right. Okay. Anybody else have anything on the park, fields, Community Day, music?
No,
Mayor, let me say one thing, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
A lot of people, I think a lot of town residents are looking for us to say a few words and tell them what's going on and what's happening, where we're going. You don't feel comfortable doing that because you don't know what tomorrow brings. So I really don't, I don't know. You guys are getting it like I am. A lot of people ask questions and we don't have the answers.
I
So,
can tell you seriously, not one person has called me to ask me what's going on. Not
Really?
one.
Really?
Nope. I put a couple things up on the website.
Yep.
Did a public service announcement yesterday. Lori, is that up on the website yet?
We're waiting for the county to publish it first. They were supposed to do it today. I'll check with Freeholder Kern.
I mean, it's basically a very short message from me, basically telling you the same things you already know.
Right.
Because,
Exactly.
Yeah. So if people want to see that, I think you all know my feelings on Facebook. I probably should have a township Facebook page. I just don't want to. Facebook to me has become something of a circus. So it's a great way to get information out there, as long as it's all positive. And I think you can set it up where people really can't respond. Correct? Is that correct, Lori?
Well, ours is set up in such a way that they can respond, but I just like, if they make any kind of comment besides tagging someone, I take a picture of it and save it and then delete it. But other than that, I mean, I've been sharing, I started after talking to you, I've been sharing Freeholder Kern's posts.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys want to just do like on Friday, do a weekly update if anything did happen. I mean, it may be kind of, even like with the stuff we discussed tonight, like maybe, if you are definitely not going to open the pool, it'd be good to get that out there.
Yeah, stuff
That
like
kind
that.
of stuff,
we
but
do.
we can work on that. Yeah. Because there has been like they're not going to you, but they are mumbling around town. Somebody brought it to my attention yesterday, just saying that they see other townships and mayors putting out all the numbers from that the county's putting together. So
That's not for the people. That's for the mayors.
no,
only.
and it doesn't. Yeah, and it really doesn't do much.
Lori,
Numbers.
I mean, I subscribe to a thing and they take whatever the governor says, they take the numbers and I get a text every day. Anybody can get that.
Correct.
There's no secret.
Yeah.
Unless we could put the mayor on right after Kumo every day and be good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You're gonna call me.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, right. Put you in between him and Murphy.
Murphy, yeah.
I don't want to make them look bad. You guys think a Facebook page is good? I've already put one up. I'll gladly put some stuff on it.
I agree with you, Mayor. I'm not a Facebook member. I think it's turned into a circus. It's a commercial entity. Why should we support it? We have a website. We have other ways of getting our message out there. So that's just my opinion. I don't like it. It is a commercial entity. Why support that?
Anybody that goes on a website,
Yeah.
can check the messages I put out there. They're pretty generic.
And that's all. And that's all I put on there. I just put stuff for recreation, and I put anything that was on the website. I put on Facebook. That's it.
I mean, for me to come out and say that, we're leading the way in the COVID-19 race, which is not something we want to lead the way on. However, we do have two nursing homes in the township. One of the gentlemen reached out to me actually today from Genesis, just to kind of explain what they're doing. I actually felt sorry for them because they're doing what they can to test their patients almost daily to see what's going on out there, because every nursing home in the country has been hit hard with this stuff. So again, it kind of comes under the, if I told you everything I knew, what difference would it make in your life? Unless of course I had I had 50 people in one section of town, and that's just not the case. So, we're in this with everybody else. We're near the epicenter of the world, not just the United States. We're 70 miles from the epicenter of the world with this. So, I don't think Jim and Luke, whether you should cover your mouth or social distance is gonna mean anything. You've been told that for the last month and a half by people a lot higher and a lot more qualified than me. So I'll leave it at that. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing and hearing none. Need a resolution. 7 and 8 are really two resolutions that came down from the freeholders, something they adopted. I had asked Beth to put them on. It's really nothing more than our support of those two resolutions. If you've read them both, I think we can move them both together. So-
I hate to be the guy on the outside all the time. I don't support number 7. It says things like a ban on family members assisting in the birth of a baby is an unnecessary and heavy-handed approach, not supported by the facts. You know me, I don't know the facts, and neither do they. It deals with hospitals in Pennsylvania. A lot of people a lot smarter than you and I are making judgments on this. I have a suggestion. If you feel strongly about this, I'd rather just authorize you to write a letter on the mayor's letterhead and maybe take some of this heavy-handed language out and encourage them to revisit this policy. But it's for hospitals in Pennsylvania. I don't think the governor over there is going to care much about what the Lopatcong Council thinks, but that's my thought.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm with you on that one, Joe. After reading this. All right, Mayor, your thoughts?
Well, sometimes I think we need to be a team player. A lot of, normally I don't care what everybody else does. I just think, with the way we've been cheated here in Warren County, I think, I can tell you, being on the mayor's call now 3 times a week, it was every day for the last couple of weeks. These guys have done a lot up there. Alex Ozorzak, both the Sarnowski and Kern have done a lot. And for us to pass a simple resolution, basically in support of what they're trying to do up there, I don't think it's a big deal on our end of it. I hear Joe. We have nothing to do with Pennsylvania.
I have no problem on the next one, but we did that on the stigma-free thing, and the more I read it, the more I regret it. So,
Feel good about that one, though.
You
I
feel
can't
good about it?
support it. In this form, I'm offering an alternative. You can
All right.
support the freeholders in our own words.
All right, so you'd rather I write a letter.
Yeah,
All right.
that's less heavy-handed than this.
So we want to pass. Hold on, geez. We need a motion for number 7 to table it or just take it off the board
No, authorize you to write a letter.
for
in
7.
support,
Okay. All
and I'll
right.
make that motion.
All right. I'll second it.
Okay, Councilman Belcaro,
Yes.
Councilman Polito, Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes. Number 8. Do we have a motion on that one?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Belcaro,
Yes.
Councilman Polito, Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes. Resolution number 9, approving participation in the Safe and Secure Communities Grant Program, which provides grant monies to the police department. I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'd like just a little explanation before we vote. I didn't get the resolution.
Oh, well,
Okay.
it's a grant that Jason, are you there? Jason?
Yep,
Okay.
I just had to unmute my mic, but yeah, it's a grant we've been receiving for many years now, but it supplements one of the salaries for one of the officers that I designate to that grant program. It usually comes in the form of about $30,000. And
We've been doing it for a number of years, Jason, correct?
yes, we
Yeah,
have.
okay, I'm good with it.
All right, then if there's no further questions, I'll roll call.
Yep.
Councilman Belcaro,
Yes.
Councilman Polito, Councilman Wright,
Yes.
Council President Pryor,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes. All right. The next thing we have is audience participation. Is there anyone from the public that has any questions or comments? Hearing none, certainly not seeing anything. We're going to close that. And we need to pass a resolution to have an executive session. A
Motion.
motion for that?
Second.
Favor?
Right.
Aye.
All right.